3 days ago, your bank balance looked normal. Then you check it again and suddenly a few $100s are missing. You didn't buy anything huge. You didn't make some reckless financial mistake. You paid the bills, picked up groceries, maybe bought lunch a couple of times. Nothing dramatic, nothing that stands out. But somehow, the money is gone. So you start scrolling through your transactions, trying to solve the mystery. $47, $23, $18 for something you barely remember, $12, $14, $31. Alone, none of them look dangerous. But stacked together, they quietly drain your account before the month is even halfway over. This is the kind of spending that ruins more financial progress than one big bad purchase. Big purchases are obvious. You notice them. You think about them. You usually feel them. But small spending slips through unnoticed. It piles up in the background until you're left wondering why you're always behind. And that's the frustrating part. Most of the time, you're not being wildly irresponsible. You're not living some extreme lifestyle you can't afford. You're simply losing money through tiny leaks you barely notice. And the answer is not more willpower. Because if willpower alone worked, this problem would already be gone. The real answer is better habits. Small, automatic behaviors that lower spending without forcing you to make perfect decisions all day. Habits that make careless spending harder. Habits that make saving easier. Habits that reshape your default behavior until the leak finally stops. This video breaks down 15 small habits that can actually prevent overspending. Not by making your life miserable, but by changing the hidden systems that decide where your money goes. If your bank balance keeps shocking you for the wrong reason, these habits explain why. Habit number 1 is creating a waiting period before buying anything non-essential. This one habit can stop a massive amount of overspending because it attacks impulse at the source. Most purchases people regret happen almost immediately after they first want something. The desire hits fast, then it fades. Stores understand this perfectly. That's why everything is built to shrink the gap between wanting something and buying it. So create the gap yourself. Before buying something you do not truly need, force a delay. For anything under $50, wait 24 hours. For anything between $50 and $200, wait 72 hours. For anything above $200, wait at least 1 full week. During that delay, do not add it to your cart. Add it to a list. Write down what it is, the price, and why you want it. Then come back after the waiting period ends. You'll be surprised by how many things no longer matter. Some items you won't want anymore. Some you'll barely even remember. That waiting period does not demand discipline. It only creates space. And inside that space, the impulse often dies by itself. Habit number 2 is removing yourself from every marketing email and promotional list you can find. This may sound small. It is not. Every promotional email is built to trigger desire that did not exist before you opened it. Limited time deals create pressure. Flash sales create fear of missing out. New arrivals create curiosity and temptation. These messages are not harmless updates. They are carefully designed attacks on your wallet. The average American receives more than 100 promotional emails every week. Each one nudges you toward spending money you had no plan to spend on products you were not even thinking about. So take 30 minutes and unsubscribe from all of them. Use the unsubscribe button at the bottom of each email. If a sender refuses to stop, mark it as spam. Tools like Unroll.me can also help you find and remove email lists faster. Once those messages disappear, something changes. You stop seeing constant deals. You stop being pulled into sales. You stop getting reminded about products you could be buying. The artificial desire fades, and a lot of the spending it caused fades with it. Habit number 3 is deleting shopping apps from your phone. This is basically the phone version of the email habit, but even more powerful, because your phone is always in your hand. Shopping apps are built to remove every possible barrier between wanting and buying. One-tap checkout, saved cards, personalized product suggestions, notifications about items you looked at once and forgot. Every feature has one purpose: make spending feel effortless. And that is exactly the danger. The easier it is to buy, the more often you buy without thinking. When a purchase requires several steps, every step gives your brain a chance to slow down. Open the site, search for the item, add it to the cart, enter payment details, confirm the order. Each step creates a moment to reconsider. But when all it takes is one thumb tap, that moment disappears. So delete the apps. Every single one. Amazon, Target, retail apps, fashion apps, any app that turns shopping into a reflex. If you truly need something, use the website through a browser. That extra effort matters. Opening Safari, typing the website, logging in, and finding the item creates a pause that the app was designed to remove. Habit number 4 is using cash for flexible spending categories. It may sound outdated in 2026, but the psychology still works. Cash feels different. When you physically hand over dollars, your brain registers the loss more clearly than when you tap a card or click a button. A card payment feels distant. Cash feels real. That is why people often spend more with cards than they do with cash, sometimes by 15 to 20%. So identify the areas where your spending tends to leak. For most people, it is eating out, entertainment, shopping, or personal care. At the start of the week or month, withdraw a set amount of cash for those categories. Once that cash is gone, spending in that category stops until the next reset. This is why the envelope system works. You place cash into separate envelopes for different categories. Now your budget is no longer hidden inside an app. It is sitting right in front of you. You can see what remains. If your dining envelope has $37 left on the 20th of the month, your behavior adjusts automatically. But if that same information is buried somewhere in your banking app, nothing changes. Habit number 5 is checking your bank balance every morning. Not because you should obsess over money. Not because you should start your day stressed. Just because awareness matters. Most people only check their accounts randomly. When they feel like they should. When something seems wrong. Or when they are about to buy something and are not sure they can afford it. That means they spend most of the month guessing where they stand. A daily balance check takes less than a minute. Open your banking app first thing in the morning, before email, before social media, before anything else. Look at the number. Notice whether it went up or down from yesterday. That is all. This habit builds quiet awareness in the background of your day. When you know exactly where your money stands, spending becomes harder to ignore. Your financial reality stays visible, and when it stays visible, your choices become more intentional. Habit number 6 is using the one in, one out rule for physical purchases. Every time you bring a new physical item into your home, one similar item has to leave. Buy a new shirt, remove an old shirt. Buy a kitchen gadget, get rid of one you already own. No exceptions. This works in 3 ways. First, it adds friction before buying. If you know a new item means giving up something you already have, the purchase feels heavier. Second, it forces you to compare the new item against what you already own. Is it actually better, or is it just new? Third, it stops clutter from building into a bigger financial problem. More stuff often leads to more storage, more organization, and eventually more space. And all of that costs money. This rule also reveals how much you already own. When you realize you have 37 shirts and must remove one before buying number 38, the new shirt suddenly feels less necessary. Habit number 7 is calculating cost per use before making any meaningful purchase. This simple calculation changes how you judge value, and sometimes it completely flips your first reaction. Here is the process. Estimate how many times you will realistically use the item during its life. Then divide the price by that number. That final number is the real cost per use. A $200 jacket worn only 2 times costs $100 every time you wear it. A $400 jacket worn 100 times costs $4 per wear. So the cheaper jacket was not actually cheaper. It was the expensive mistake. This is what cost per use exposes. Sometimes the expensive item is the smarter buy, and sometimes the cheap item quietly costs you more. A simple, high-quality item you use constantly can be a better financial decision than a trendy item you barely touch. Something durable that serves you every day usually beats something cheap that breaks, gets replaced, or sits unused. Once you start doing this math, your buying decisions change. The impulse purchase starts looking ridiculous. The item that seemed too expensive may actually look reasonable. This habit attacks one of the biggest spending leaks, small, cheap purchases that feel harmless in the moment. Those little $12 buys may cost far more per use than one well-chosen item you actually need. Habit number 8 is making a clear shopping list before every trip and only buying what is on it. Stores are not random. They are built to make you spend more than you planned. The layout, the displays, the signs, the samples, the checkout area. Everything is designed to trigger extra purchases. Walking into a store without a list means walking into a trap with no defense. So, before you go, write down exactly what you need. Be specific. Not food. Write milk, bread, eggs, chicken, and broccoli. Look over the list once. Add anything important you forgot. Then make the rule simple. If it is not on the list, you do not buy it. This sounds basic, but most people do not follow it. They walk into Target for laundry detergent and walk out with detergent, candles, throw pillows, storage bins, and random dollar section items they never planned to buy. The list creates a line between intentional spending and impulse spending. If something catches your attention but it is not on the list, write it down for later. Then use the waiting period from habit number 1. Most of the time, by the next trip, you will not care anymore. Habit number 9 is never shopping while emotional. Not when you feel bad. And not when you feel too good. Emotions change how you spend. Stress, sadness, anxiety, and boredom can push you toward buying things for comfort or distraction. But excitement, celebration, and confidence can be just as risky because they lower your guard. The pattern is simple. Strong emotions weaken financial judgment. Retail therapy is not therapy. It is a short distraction that can create money problems. And those money problems create more stress later. Before any non-essential purchase, pause and check your state. Are you emotionally charged right now? If the answer is yes, delay the purchase until you feel more neutral. The waiting period helps, but emotional awareness gives you another layer of protection. Because many purchases are not really about the product. They are about changing how you feel. Once you notice that you are using spending to manage emotions, you can deal with the emotion directly instead of buying something you do not need. Habit number 10 is separating your money into different accounts. When all your cash sits in one place, it all feels spendable. The money meant for rent looks the same as the money meant for entertainment. The money meant for savings looks the same as the money meant for takeout. That makes it easy to spend money that was supposed to serve a different purpose. So split your money by job. At minimum, use one account for bills and fixed expenses, one account for spending, and one account for savings. Some people need even more separation. One account for each major goal. One account only for discretionary spending. The effect is powerful because it removes the guesswork. If your spending account has $300 and your bills account has $1,500, you know exactly what you can use freely. You are not doing mental math every time you buy something. The system has already done the separation for you. Set up automatic transfers on payday. Bills move where they need to go. Savings move where they need to go. What remains in your spending account is money you can actually use without guilt. This setup protects you from accidentally using bill money for random spending. And that is one major reason people feel shocked when an account that looked fine a few days ago suddenly looks drained. Habit number 11 is doing a subscription audit every month. Subscriptions are built to disappear into the background. Companies understand that the harder it feels to cancel, the longer people keep paying. If the monthly charge is small enough to avoid attention, many people will keep paying for services they barely use or do not use at all. In 2026, the average American spends over $200 a month on subscriptions, but most people guess much lower than that. Often, they are off by $50 to $100 every month. So once a month, go through every recurring charge on your statements. Write down the subscription, the monthly cost, and the last time you actually used it. Then ask one question. If I did not already have this, would I sign up for it today at this price? If the answer is no, cancel it immediately. Be strict. That streaming service you keep saying you will use later, cancel it. You can always come back when there is something specific you actually want to watch. That app you pay for but open once a month, cancel it. That gym membership you have not used in weeks, cancel it. Subscriptions grow quietly. Prices increase. New services get added. Old ones get forgotten. Without a monthly audit, subscription creep slowly raises your fixed expenses until your budget has no breathing room left. This is one reason budgets break. People create them once, then assume the numbers stay the same. Meanwhile, reality keeps changing underneath. Habit number 12 is sleeping on any purchase over $100. The 24-hour rule works for smaller purchases, but bigger purchases need more distance. They need at least one night of sleep. Sleep changes how decisions feel. Something that seems urgent at night can look unnecessary in the morning. A desire that felt strong before bed can lose power after rest. The emotional intensity fades. This is not just a saying. Sleep affects how your brain weighs choices, consequences, and short-term rewards. The purchase that looked completely justified at 9 p.m. can look questionable at 9 a.m. So make the rule simple. Nothing over $100 gets bought on the same day. Put it on your list. Sleep on it. Decide the next morning. If you still want it after that, the decision is more likely to be thoughtful instead of impulsive. Habit number 13 is tracking every purchase for at least 1 month. Not forever. Most people will not stick with that, but 1 full month is enough to create awareness that stays with you. Write down every purchase, the amount, what it was, why you bought it, every coffee, every grocery run, every subscription, every random impulse buy. Use your notes app, a spreadsheet, or paper. Use whatever you will actually follow. At the end of the month, review everything. Patterns will show up. You may realize one category costs far more than you thought. You may find purchases you completely forgot. You may notice certain moods, times, or situations that keep leading to spending. And once you see the pattern clearly, it is hard to ignore it again. If you notice that afternoon stress keeps turning into random purchases, that awareness stays with you. Tracking creates visibility, and visibility changes behavior. Most budgets rely on outside rules. Tracking changes what you notice internally. The limits start coming from awareness instead of pressure, and limits that come from awareness are much easier to keep. Habit number 14 is intentionally adding friction to your easiest spending paths. Deleting shopping apps and unsubscribing from emails removes spending triggers. This habit goes one step further. It makes your weakest spending areas harder to access. First, identify where money leaves your life most easily. Maybe it is food delivery. Maybe it is in-game purchases. Maybe it is one specific store where you always overspend. Once you know the path, make it harder. Remove saved payment methods so every purchase requires entering your card details manually. Log out of shopping accounts so buying requires signing in again. Use website blockers during the hours when you usually spend the most. Delete certain apps so you have to reinstall them before you can buy anything. Every extra step gives you another chance to slow down. Finding your card. Typing the number. Entering the expiration date. Adding the CVV. Each small obstacle gives your brain time to ask, do I actually need this? Most impulse purchases collapse when they have to survive 4 or 5 barriers. And this same idea works in reverse. Make good financial behaviors easier. Automate saving. Put bills on autopay. Set up investing so it happens without needing a fresh decision every time. Friction should work against bad habits and support good ones. Modern businesses are built to remove every barrier between desire and purchase. You are not just battling weak discipline. You are up against billions of dollars of design built to make spending effortless. Adding friction makes the fight fair again. Habit number 15 is making your financial progress visible. Spending gives you an instant reward. A new product, a new experience, a new thing to hold. Saving money does not feel as visible in the moment. Not buying something gives you no immediate object, no package, no receipt of excitement. That is why spending feels rewarding while restraint feels like losing out. So make your progress something you can actually see. Create a visual tracker for your money goals. A savings thermometer on the fridge. A spreadsheet progress bar showing how much debt is gone. A net worth chart that rises over time. Anything you see often enough to make progress feel real. Whenever you skip an unnecessary purchase, mentally move that amount toward your goal and update the tracker. The $47 you did not waste becomes $47 added to your down payment fund. Now restraint has a reward. Instead of getting a short burst from buying something, you get the deeper satisfaction of watching your goal move closer. The tracker turns invisible self-control into visible achievement. Every impulse you resist becomes proof that you are building something bigger. And all 15 of these habits have one thing in common. They do not depend on endless willpower. Willpower runs out. Trying to force yourself to resist temptation hundreds of times every month forever is not a real plan. It is a setup for failure. A better approach is to change the system around you. Make spending harder. Make saving easier. Remove the triggers that create fake desire. Bring unconscious spending into awareness. Add friction where money leaks out too easily. Make progress visible so restraint feels like a win. Once these systems are in place, they work without constant effort. You do not have to resist marketing emails you never receive. You do not have to fight a shopping app that is not on your phone. You do not have to remember to save when the transfer happens automatically. The money disappearing from your account is usually not leaving through one giant mistake. It is leaving through dozens of small, forgettable, effortless transactions. These habits are designed to stop those exact leaks, not by banning every purchase, but by changing the conditions that make careless spending happen. You do not need more discipline. You need stronger systems. This is financial literacy applied to the psychology of spending. Most money advice starts after you already have cash available. How to invest, how to save, how to allocate. And those things matter, but none of them work if the money is already gone. Before you can invest money, you have to keep it. Before you can save money, you have to stop it from leaking away. That is the foundation most people skip. Understanding why spending happens, the impulses, the triggers, the environment, and the frictionless systems built to pull money from you is financial literacy too. This is the kind of knowledge that changes what you actually do. I created a full breakdown of financial literacy that covers this foundation and everything built on top of it. The psychology of spending, the systems that build real wealth, the mistakes that destroy progress at every stage. If these habits made you notice patterns you had ignored, triggers you did not realize were affecting you, or system problems you blamed on lack of discipline, that video gives you the full framework for building financial success that actually lasts. Because the truth is simple. The spending draining your account is not random. It is predictable. It follows patterns, and patterns can be spotted, understood, and changed. The 15 habits in this video are things you can start using today. Each one closes a different leak in your financial system. Together, they turn spending from an unconscious drain into a deliberate choice. Most people will watch this, see themselves in several habits, and still change nothing. Then they will keep wondering why they cannot get ahead even though they earn enough. Do not be most people. Pick 3 habits from this video and apply them this week. Not all 15. That is too much at once. Choose the 3 that attack your biggest spending leaks. Master those first, then add more. The money slipping away is usually not lost through massive decisions. It is lost through the small, forgettable, automatic ones. Fix those, and the bleeding stops. Your financial future is built through daily habits. The question is whether those habits are helping you or draining you. Now you know the difference. What you do next is up to you.